Today I'm doing my Pokemon collection! Alright, so stay tuned for some of that. And that concludes what is left of my Pokemon card collection. Let's move on from the cards to the toys. I have so many of those I want to go over with you guys. These are all my toys. Well, at least most of them. And they all have a story. So these two, Meowth and Pikachu, they're in very, very rough shape. They've seen better days. These guys were actually cake toppers for one of my birthday parties way back in the day. And I thought that they were just part of the cake. So it's possible that my mom just got the toys and brought it and put it on my little birthday cake for my little happy birthday. So we got Ash team representation and we got Team Rocket representation. And these guys have seen better days. I have played with a lot of these toys. If you have any sort of feeling towards old vintage toys that are not in mint condition, this is a warning. Most of these toys are not in any kind of good condition. They've all been used and played with so much love, so much fun, and all that stuff. So let's continue. So here in the front are all my Tommy toy figures. I didn't know that there was a specific brand that made Pokemon toys. A lot of these I got from asking my parents, hey, can we go to the toy store? And I got Pokemon toys. Some of them were given to me by other kids because their parents didn't believe in Pokemon. Some parents of kids who I was friends with back in the day who were really religious and thought Pokemon was demonic. Remember those days? So some of these toys, like this Raichu, actually came from the parent. I guess the kid didn't willingly give this to me. The parent was like, here, take some of these toys because my kid's not allowed to have them. This poor kid used to hide these in his sock drawer so his parents wouldn't find them so he could enjoy Pokemon. But they found it and they gave it to me. So yeah, this kid is never gonna see this toy again. Unless he follows me on YouTube. Well, if you do follow me on YouTube, I don't remember your name, but I still have the Raichu that your parents took from you, crushed your childhood dreams, and gave away. I have some other pretty cool ones, like this Gengar, for example. He's translucent, which is really rad. I didn't even realize that until I was digging out these old toys for this video. Some of them had parts that you could just take off, like this Charmander, his tail would come off. But some of them I lost the pieces that came off. For example, this Charmander doesn't have a flame, so technically he is dead. This Abra is missing his tail, so rip, say goodbye to Abra's tail. And this Seal, his tail completely snapped off, so it's not that it came off and was lost, it was just completely snapped off. So this Staryu and this Butterfree and even this Slowpoke, for example, these are toys that I actually fixed because they kept falling apart and breaking. Slowpoke's tail kept falling off and it wasn't sticking in, so what I actually ended up doing was gluing it. And of course I did this when I was like in high school, so I was actually allowed to use super glue and not glue my fingers together. This Staryu, also I glued it to the base. And the most ridiculous was this Butterfree. Now the Butterfree used to have antennas, those are gone, but its wings kept breaking, its stand kept breaking, and I think I had to fix this like 2 or 3 times because it kept breaking. So this guy's incredibly fragile. Got a lot of these guys. I got Ash right here. I used to have Ash and Misty play together, but I don't have Misty anymore, but I do have Ash. So at least he survived. Okay, so moving on away from these toys, I'm gonna just move them out of the way so we can focus on the other ones. Alright, so I moved those guys out of the way so I can focus more on other toys and Pokemons as my dad likes to call it. And I wanted to point out this Mew and Mewtwo that I forgot to mention. So one thing to note is that Mew and Mewtwo are practically white. They're a pinkish hue, but like when you imagine Mewtwo, you think of him as purpley colored. And when you think of Mew, you imagine pink. So now, something that is really unique is I have this silver Mewtwo. I believe this silver Mewtwo belonged to my brother. I think it was a special exclusive, like very super important Mewtwo figure. It's the exact same model and design as the other Mewtwo. The only difference is he's silver. Actually, if you look at their faces, I think the white Mewtwo's face looks a little silly in comparison. The next toys I'm going to talk about are these toys that you see up here. This Blastoise and this Pikachu. This Pikachu is actually my favorite figure from my childhood. It is the original design of the fat Pikachu, and I don't know why, but his face was white. And this Blastoise, which I actually played a lot with, so he's kind of faded, like his shell and whatever. But if you look at their butts, they have a very unique shape to their booties, and that's because they are pencil toppers. Let me grab my handy dandy pencil. They just kind of stuck on the pencil like so. So you are the coolest of the coolest kids in the classroom. Boop. Pikachu! So I don't remember exactly where I got those. Next up, I have these two figures. I have a shiny metallic looking Charmander and this Poliwrath. Same concept, this metallic sheen color. Now, these two are actually toys that came from Pop-Tarts. I actually had to look this up to make sure my memory was correct, but yeah, I remember really wanting Pop-Tarts because of these weird looking toys. This Poliwrath actually looks really cool. Charmander, at least his fire tail flame butt thing won't fall off, but he looks kind of silly. These two are actually from cereal boxes where they would hook, and I actually had to look this up because I was like, I don't know why these toys look so unique and different than my other ones, but apparently they hook onto your cereal bowl to hang out with you during breakfast time. So these are breakfast time Pokemon toys. And I actually have some B-roll of me putting them in a cereal bowl. You have to have a very thin rimmed plastic bowl. They didn't fit any of my ceramic or glass bowls. And I wouldn't suggest putting them in your coffee mugs because then Pichu will poke you in the eye and Arbok doesn't even fit. So that's those toys. These two are actually more promotional toys. I don't remember exactly which promotion, but they're from Pokemon Gold and Silver game promotions. And these are actually pencil toppers as well. I knew this Entei looked different than my other toys, and I always thought maybe it's because he's a Gen 2 and he has this big hole. Not the same kind of hole as my Blastoise or Pikachu, but I found out through research that he's actually a pencil topper, and he actually looks really good on the pencil. I don't know, I think he looks really cool on the pencil. And then I realized that Pichu had the exact same hole, and it was the exact same kind of toy with that weird, not so amazing quality as the Tommy toys. And yeah, apparently he's also from the same promotion. I don't exactly remember what the promotion was, but if I find a picture of it or a blurb of it, I'll put it on the screen so you can see. That's it for those guys. Let's move on to these other Pokemon toys you see up front before we get into these ones I'm sure you guys are all familiar with. Alright, the next set of toys that I'm going to talk about are these guys right here are actually keychains. So these four are all the same type of keychain. This Mewtwo is a different kind of keychain. He has seen better days. If you look at him, his little piece back here is kind of falling apart, but there on the back of his head is where the chain used to hang, and this Mewtwo is actually closer in color than the other Mewtwo was, so overall better, I'd say. This Bulbasaur is actually really good in quality considering the fact that it's ancient at this point, but he does have a hole in his bum. So does this Squirtle, Togepi, and this Snorlax. So all of these Pokemon actually came with tiny little Pokeballs that you push a button and it pops open. And in this Pokeball had a little piece where you would just stick the bum of the Pokemon into so it would stay, and it has this chain attached to it, and the chain would stick out of the Pokeball and it would hang, so you could hang it to your belt, backpack, keys, or whatever. Now, these guys took the chains off, they just became more Pokemon toys. This Squirtle is the one that I had from when I was a kid, and if you can tell, it's had better days. This poor guy actually ended up in the clutches of one of my dogs. His name was Saber, and he chewed this thing up. But as you can see, I hung on to it and I kept it because I loved this Squirtle. This was my favorite Squirtle even after it got chewed up. So, my precious little messed up boy right there. This Snorlax actually is the only one that is in good condition still. I believe this probably must have belonged to my brother because of, you know, the quality. And he still has his authentic keychain. Now, I had the Pokeball that came with this Snorlax, but the thing with that is that Pokeball is lost forever. Now, for these two little guys, these two minifigures, I remember getting from those things at at diners where you put the quarter in and you twist it and the little thing pops out. I don't remember what those things are called, but these tiny little figures I got from that. So here's a closer look at these two, by the way. So I actually went online and I saw a giant collector's pack of these type of Pokemon toys. This Nidoqueen is actually pretty neat, but this Zubat, you know, he's got this little gray stand and they have these little holes in their butts. You know, and they can stick to each other. That's cute. Here's just a random Pikachu marble that I have. Now let's get into the Burger King Pokemon toys. The thing about me as a kid, I was a very picky eater. And I didn't particularly like eating fast food. The French fries were really good, but I didn't really care about the fast food. However, because of these Pokemon promotions, you would think otherwise. I would beg my parents to take me to Burger King just so I can get one of these Pokemon related toys. And I remember this one time my dad took me to Burger King and the toy was this spinny top Diglett. And the funny thing about this story was I didn't care about the food. I only cared about the toy. So when I tell you my dad was not happy that I wasn't eating my chicken nuggets, he was not happy. He took the Diglett and threw it away in the trash. He took me outside, opened the bin, tossed it in. And he's like, "You're not getting this toy until you finish your food. Finish your chicken nuggets." And my dad was not joking. But the good news is I now have the figure, and it wasn't just me that would get these kids' meals. It would be my brothers as well. All of these guys you see right here in the front, these are all the original Burger King kids toys. And I mean original because those are the ones that came in these type of Pokeballs. Okay? Now, I didn't like how the Pokeballs looked, so of the ones that I have left, and I took a Sharpie and I actually colored the pieces in just so it would look more like a Pokeball. But these things have been recalled because kids under the age of like 4 would put them on their mouth, suck it in, and they would end up suffocating. Now, fortunately, my brothers and I were not idiots, and we actually were able to keep ours. Our parents didn't throw them away. They didn't send them back to Burger King for the refund or anything, and we actually got to keep them. But yeah, so shout out to all those kids back in the 90s who still have their Pokeballs. Comment below if you still have yours. These are the only ones that we have left over. I liked the keychains. You can see that I actually ripped the keychain pieces off. Not ripped, I just kind of took them off, and I couldn't take these pieces off. And if you notice, some of them are a little rusty because I used to play with these in the bath when I was a little kid. So they did kind of get rusted, but these guys were pretty great. Now the Seadra was also a bath time buddy of mine, and he was a squirt toy. So you fill him up with water and you squirt him. And these things got wheels on them. And now some of them come with Pokeballs and some of them come with this swirly thing. And I was yesterday years old when I realized two different things about this particular part of the toy. One, it looks like a snail shell, which actually looks like the Ammonite shell, which makes me think fossil Pokemon. And then you also realize this is the cloning device that Mewtwo used in the Pokemon movie. So all these Pokemon that came with this are actually the clones of the original Pokemon. So this Tauros, for example, yay! This Tauros is a clone, and this is the process of it coming out of its clone thing, or whatever it's called. And then this one, for example, is a Pokeball because this is the one that belonged to the trainers. So I guess you would have them battle each other, clone versus trainers bonds, and they would battle. Of course they do it better than that. So yeah, I got Bulbasaur, Tauros. I got 3 Tauroses. So it's kind of like Ash's collection of Tauros. I got an Arcanine, Lapras, and a Rapidash. Now my 2 favorite is the Lapras, because Lapras was always a great Pokemon to have, and Arcanine. Arcanine actually reminded me of my dogs back in the day. My dog Saber, before he passed, he was a big fluffy dog and reminded me so much of Arcanine that whenever I catch an Arcanine in Pokemon games now, I always name them Saber. So these are just... Yay! That was a race. Now the last ones that came with that promotion of Burger King were these Spinny Boys. Now, these things I feel like never really worked. They're supposed to spin. Of course, I have like a tablecloth on this, so that's not really going to work. But I think Golem was my favorite because even though the spinny thing was on his butt, he at least stood up and you could still play with him. Same thing with Venonat. Venonat was pretty cool. You could still play with it. Diglett, however, pretty useless. I think it probably looked the coolest when it spun, but without the spinning part of him, not a very fun toy to have. Hello, Future Me here. I forgot to mention when going over my Burger King toys that I had all the gold-plated Pokemon card things. As you can see here, I have Poliwhirl, Jigglypuff with the card, Mewtwo. Mewtwo also has the card, and he's also in the case. I have Charizard, I have Togepi, and Togepi's little authenticity card, and I have Pikachu. So I have all of these guys, and I have 3 of the Pokeballs. Anyway, back to the other stuff. On the topic of Spinny Boys, these 2, they must have come from some kind of Kellogg's promotion. I got a winking Pikachu, and I have a suspicious looking Hoothoot. I think I got these from a childcare place, like when my mom would go to the gym and take me and I was too young to partake in exercise. They'd have a little childcare area. I think I ended up getting these from that. Oh my god, it actually did it! Oh, Hoothoot's not doing it. Yeah, so those are more spinning top kind of Pokemon toys. And on the topic of spinny ones, I got these guys. I have a Jigglypuff, Clefairy, and another Snorlax. These have little metal rollers on the bottom, and I don't remember what their purpose was, but I think they were advertised for battle. Like that. This is one of the only modern Pokemon toys that I ended up getting from Gen 3, because it came in a pack. I remember I used to have a Groudon, and Groudon was awesome. It had this little thing where you push him and he shoots out fire. I had a Mudkip, and I believe I had an Absol. Now the Mudkip figure was so tiny that it got lost. Don't remember what happened to my Absol. The only thing that's left over is this guy. I think his name is Larion. You see, I never heard his name spoken like in an anime or anything like that. He actually does headbutt. So let's get a... Here, Squirtle, you've seen better days. And let's headbutt. Done. Pokemon toy promotions. I didn't know exactly what these kinds of toys were called until recently. Apparently they're known as 3D Pokemon cards, and they used to have stands. Now the stands are long gone, but I have this Elekid and I have a Zapdos. Now on the back of these cards, it will give you a little blurb from the movie and a screenshot. So in this one, for example, Elekid's saving the Execute, and on this one, we have a screenshot from the movie with Tracy, one of the girls, Misty, and Slowking, which is one of the reasons why I love Slowking so much was because of this movie. Now, Elekid, when you push down on him, he actually lights up, and I'm a little disappointed in the color of his light. He's red, which doesn't make any sense. But, you know, the battery still works. I'm really, like, shocked and surprised when I tested this out recently, but that's really neat. And this Zapdos used to work all the time until it stopped working. Its wings in the back, the black pieces of his wings do move up and down. He used to make such an obnoxious, loud cry. And then when the battery started dying, it sounded so distorted and sad and pitiful. But I loved this thing. This thing was amazing. When Pokemon Gold and Silver came out, they ended up coming out with these things. These are like mini Game Boy Colors to promote the Game Boy Color and the new Gold and Silver Pokemon games. Here you have a little cart. Mine happens to have Haunter on it. They all have different Pokemon on it. This piece opened up, and a lot of the time these would end up getting lost. And this one happens to have a see-through Scyther that kind of looks like Han Solo when he was frozen in, what was it called, Carbonite or something. So I have a frozen in slate Scyther. But this Scyther is pretty neat, and he dances. I have seen people online actually turning these Game Boy things, these Burger King Game Boy toys, into actual Game Boy systems. Well, not just Game Boy systems. I saw that people put Raspberry Pis in these and actually make it a functional toy. With my tiny little fingers, might actually be a fun mod, but I don't have the technical know-how to do anything of the sort. So he's just gonna stay as Scyther in this toy forever. Unless you or anyone you know online is a whiz at these kinds of mods and would like to give it a shot, let me know. Maybe I will slide this towards your way so you can put that Raspberry Pi in it and you can have a mini Game Boy. But you know, I can live without. I'm happy with my random vintage toys. Well, that's it for my Pokemon collection. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more videos in the future. Bye!